I'm hoping I will have an answers for every question in terms of technical aspects, user aspects, a way you want to use application or something. On the screen wise, I kept a demo of student support services. There is no specific reason. I just kept it one BLUMEN because I was not sure how many people and which program everyone joining me. But I don't mind to answer the question of every trio programs. I know we have 7 trio programs, which is upper bound, math science, VUB, talent search, EOC, McNair, and SSS. I will answer and keeping the same screen as a foundation wise. So I'm open to take a questions, show you, inform you everything, whatever you're looking for. So I'm open from my side. Go ahead. Ms. Robin, I don't know how you're going to conduct that. You can take a chance from everyone, or I should look at the chat,
I was wondering,
or whichever way you like.
we don't offer all of those different trio programs here in the state, but I wasn't sure, would it be helpful for you if people put in the chat what trio program they're from, just so you have an idea of who's in the room here?
Sure, that's not a problem.
Okay, so if you all wouldn't mind just popping into the chat, what type of program, SSS, talent search, or upward bound, just so that Vandana has a good sense of who's here in our Zoom room. Thank you so much.
All right, y'all commented for us.
Thank you. There's some road people over there. Did you like connect?
This is great. Thank you, everybody.
I saw that. Good. I see quite a bit people from talent search. So many people from SSS and upper bound. Good. I see nobody so far from McNair. There's one person, Mr. Jacob. You are from McNair. I will answer your question for McNair as well. Keeping a one screen of the SSS, but I don't mind to be answering your questions in particular. I see Miss Amber, you are from EOC. I love to answer your questions. So pretty much every trio program is here. So good. As I mentioned you that in this presentation, it was easy for me to keep one BLUMEN to answer any particular question, but you are all of them more than welcome to call personally to the office, and we will happy to answer your questions. Okay. I don't know if I have to read question from the chat, or I think so. There is a 12 people, so I don't mind to give a fair chance to everyone, one person at a time, or we can start from there. So if you can tell me the question, I can answer your questions.
Here. It seems like it's going to stabilize. It's going to get a little hot Friday, Saturday, but then it's going to get real stable.
Vandana, are there some general practices that you recommend to best utilize?
I will definitely recommend. So for all trio programs, your journal practice, if you're doing database entry, or if you're not doing database entry, you're just maintaining the APR, or you want to see the different things. So any program, when you're going in a student icon, home, student data, I'm putting my mouse over just to catch your attention. When you're going that screen, make sure you are on the current fiscal year. My demo is 2021 because my dummy data, they give a different setup. So as of today, for any trio program, you are in the fiscal year 2023. Just make sure. Because we're getting quite a bit call. People are, by mistake, somebody is fairly new for the program. They didn't realize they're entering the data into the wrong fiscal year accidentally. Nobody doing on purpose, for sure. It's common. Didn't realize where you are and you are fairly new. So as of today, any trio program, you are in a fiscal year of 2023. That's the first catch. Second thing is that whenever you're doing new student, it will add the student to that fiscal year, what it is showing in a settings, just to remember that. So it's really highly recommended when one fiscal year ends, new fiscal year start, very commonly, new fiscal year start in September for majority of the program, September 1st. I'm aware certain upper bound and upper bound math science program, you might be starting in June 1st. So it's very good idea to roll over the year at the fiscal year start. I understand you're still doing the data entry for previous year, but it's a good practice to roll over at the fiscal year start. The reason is your counselors, your advisors, your tutors, they're doing the everyday data entry and they prefer to do the data entry on a current setups, so they're not having any wrong date entry information. Second thing, when you have a new student coming up, you like to add into the fiscal year, so it's a very good practice. When the APR time comes, you can roll over back or push the fiscal year back, do the APR and going back or roll over again, which is, we can show you the tricks. So that's a good practice to be make sure you always on a correct fiscal year when you're doing the data entry. Second thing is that I'm just taking you inside that screen. Every program has a word called Student Quick Data Entry. Every program. Definitely the screen might be different, tab might be different to program, but there's a one fundamental rule. The way we make our BLUMEN application and user-friendly, if you look at the red text field for your program, it's a mandatory field for your program. So if you're talent search, you might have a certain fields in red only. If you're upper bound, you might have a several tab. Talent search only has a 2 tabs like SSS. Upper bound math science, veterans upper bound about 4 or 5 tabs. So if you see the red field like that, make sure please do not leave it blank when you're doing the data entry. Most importantly, please make sure when you're doing the data entry, you are sure, or whoever doing the data entry, sure that is the correct information. Do not assume it. Because while you're doing this data entry, you are pretty much making your APR simultaneously, and if you're doing the wrong information or assumed information, you might up messing up your APR calculations or APR data entry. When I say you, please don't take it personally when I say somebody who's doing the data entry. Most importantly, all the drop down depends on program to program. I'm just focused on this program, let's say gender. Pretty much the way the drop down choices are is given by Department of Education. Please make sure, I know gender might not be appropriate, let's say I'm going to say eligibility. Make sure you have to choose one of the options which is given in the list, because that is defined by the Department of Education. If APR will change, we'll change the application. We'll let you know such and such a date, your data will convert into the latest version. That fundamental rule applies to any program. Okay. Second thing is that every program, regardless, if you notice that we always have a little bit fine gray line for your program as well. Trick is, if you see the word fiscal year, whichever program you are in, above that line, the data, what you enter, precisely pretty much going fixed data, means it's not going to change 1 year to another year. So what BLUMEN do that, saving your time, it copy paste the data next year automatically for you when you do rollover. And that helps you to cross-check or fix your APR data entry, especially SSS, McNair, upper bound math science, VUB program, those 5 programs, because those are the data which is above the fiscal year line for any program. I know you might have a different fields for your program. That data has to be same. Talent search and EOC program, you are not reporting name to the Department of Education, a student name. But the reason is other programs do, and that's where their name is in a red text field. If you are talent search or EOC program, name is showing up, but it's red color, black color text rather than red color text. Just to let you know, these are the differences. So certain fields are same, like city address, phone number, email address, but the color coordination will change from program to program, and we're not specifying the number next to the field if it's not mandatory for your program. Any question, any one of you? Okay. Second tricks for all the programs. Any data which is below the gray line after the fiscal year word, like here on this screen, that data might be changed from year to year, and 80% of the data is towards the end of the fiscal year. So if your fiscal year ends on August 31st, that means you're updating based on August 31st. If your fiscal year ends on May 31st, you are updating based on May 31st. If your fiscal year, some of the upper bound math science program, correct me if I'm wrong, might be not in your case. There is a few upper bound math science program. They start in October and end in September. So make sure what is your reporting period. If you are not sure, and if you think what is that, please look at your grant papers, and it shows over there. If you're not able to put a hand on your grant papers, when the Department of Education website portal open, they shows what is your reporting period for your peer award number. Okay. Some programs, I'm going to name the programs: Talent Search, EOC, SSS, and McNair. You will be having a second tab called End of Year Status. That particular tab, without any thought, the cutoff date is August 31st of the year. So if you are in a 2023 fiscal year, the cutoff date for the end of year status fiscal year financial aid tab is August 31st, 2024. You just update that tab based on the information you know on that particular date. Best of my knowledge, I know you are TRIO professionals, TRIO masters. I'm just tech person, so I'm just sharing my tech knowledge. Best of my knowledge, any TRIO program, when we're talking about the APR, which is stand for Annual Performance Report, Department of Education not asking anything what happened to the semester. So whenever you're thinking student showed up in a spring, did not show, or he showed up in a fall, did not show up in a spring, they do not need to know about it in terms of APR. Okay. Yes, for internal purposes, you can store those much data, and I can show you different screen, but APR purpose is very clear for the Department of Education when the students start the program, starting of the fiscal year, end of the fiscal year. Those are the three things they're asking it. So let me pinpoint in terms of SSS. Any data above this line is when students start the program. Okay? If I'm going to talk about anything below the fiscal year, pretty much some data is either starting of the fiscal year, which is September 1, or some data towards the end of the fiscal year, which is August 31st of the fiscal year ends. Same rule apply for upper bound. There is a certain tab, it's called current information, entry information, then field number, God bless me for that, to remember that, field number 27 onwards, pretty much some fields is up to field number 30 is a starting of the fiscal year. After 31, everything towards the end of the fiscal year. For upper bound math science. If I do have a good memory about the field by field. And when you're doing that, it collects the data into the APR automatically based on your program. We have a different sections, the whole data collect on different sections. Okay. If I'm not sure if you are program directors or advisors or someone of you, I'm not sure if it's a point of your duty or not, but I'm going to get your attention. So if not one of your tasks to do it, at least to let your director knows or whoever doing that, please make sure for your program, go on the PE points and plug in your information from the grant papers based on your objectives. If your SSS program, 2-year program, you can go on a APR, home, APR section 1, you can set if you are a 2-year or 4-year. Only the SSS program has those two clarifications. If you're 2-year, you can set as a 2-year. If you're a 4-year, you set as a 4-year. In my demo, I'm keeping both to show you. But for other programs, you don't need to worry about it. This section, it's all ready to go. When you're going in a P points, just put the column called target. I'm going to show you, objective. Just put the numbers from your grant papers. What is your objective written on your grant papers? Rest of the thing, BLUMEN calculate based on your current data. I will highly recommending you periodically come on this screen and see where you are on your number settings. So please, nobody take personally here. If you are a director of the program or the one who is responsible to see funded to serve, it's very good idea, especially if you are a month of May or June, you will be more curious to know if I'm funded to serve or not, because pretty much by June, your grant is ending, so you can recruit some student in the summer to make up the numbers, or if you are over, you know that you don't need any summer student to make up your number. Or I'm not saying that is a right practice, but I'm just giving an idea. Second thing is that you can be seeing that, hey, let me find out, are the summer GPA, like a fall and spring GPA comes up, are they good academic standing or not? So you can help them to take summer classes to make up their academic standing or something. So you will be in a top of your P points based on program to program, and you can track your alumni. I know Talent Search and EOC, you not track alumni, but all the other 5 programs tracking your alumni for the bottom portion of your objective. That's a good time to catch it, excuse me, and go back on the screen and update the data. Now, time to time, it's very good practice to click on this printer button, little bitty printer button for next to each objective. Whatever program you are on, based on your objective, there will be a little printer button, and run the report called detail. That's my personal suggestion to you. The reason is it will pinpoint you which student, like for example, unknown. So you know, hey, that student is the one I need to look at it. Because sometimes you have a 30 student, 40 student, it's hard to catch it, and that helps you to nail it, which student you actually need to contact rather than going everybody, you know. So that's a good practice here to be practicing it. Keep eye on the P points periodically, not just to end of the year or at the time when the APR comes. My personal suggestion, based on my experience to help for technical aspects, imagine you have to submit the APR on September 1. That's keep the practice and keep a data entry accurate. If you're doing this way, when the APR open, whether it's opening on November 1st, December 1st, or delaying it, you are not pressurizing yourself. Because best of my knowledge, pretty much everyone runs the program till May 31st. June, July, and August is like a dead time where you pretty much wrapping up, doing the ceremonies of graduation or something. That time your counselor or advisor can finish entering contacts, because as soon as the August starts, you pretty much start even recruiting more students. So use June and July to finish the backlog of data entry and make a practice, hey, September 1st when the APR is due. Even though it's not due, you can call us during that time. Believe me or not, I'm giving you insight. You can say, Vandana, you sharing your company policy or company secrets? I will say yes. So during that time, trust me, if you're calling us, we will be happy to help you all the time. But during that time, we have a less call, so we will be sharing with some thought behind that. Sometimes we just answering your question, what you're asking it. As a human psychology, like when you have more time, you're spending more time. Hey, if I have nothing to do, let's talk to this customer, share more ideas, share more thoughts. So please use us during June, July, and August more often. Any small question, big question. In fact, after that also. But during that time, people are calling us quite often now. They're finishing mock APR during that month. And when the APR open, they're finishing their APR within a 10 to 15 minutes. Trust me or not. I'm telling you very truthful story about it. So lots of people practicing that way. Uh, Second important information I like to share is please do any program, enter contacts, whether it's a counselor contact, tutor contact, teacher contact. It will be helpful for you. Two reasons. Only talent search and EOC not reporting services, but the other 5 program reporting services to Department of Education in terms of APR, one or the other way. So BLUMEN calculate those portions for you automatically. For talent search and EOC, let's say tomorrow if your APR structure change and if you're doing the contact data entry, you don't need to worry about it. BLUMEN convert your contact into the APR format if they're asking services to you guys as well. Most importantly, I'm not going to scare you, but believe me or not, some people calling us, they have the auditors. And when the auditor comes, they're asking, show us services you provided. How many counseling codes or tutorings or who provides services, how many times. And customers calling us and we helping them to running the reports through the BLUMEN and tons of very, very good things for them because you cannot make the data within a minute or so. If you already have a data, enter over the time, you're just running reports and show them. So please do enter contacts in BLUMEN, and that's what highly recommended, whether it's a counseling notes, tutoring, teaching staff, any type of that. So please do that, any program. That's a regular practice, keep in practice. And one more thing, just to bring it to everyone's attention. As of today in BLUMEN, we have pretty much any listing, any cross tab, any project summary, any type of report you needed, I would say 90% of the report ready to go, we have it in BLUMEN for you. So it's just a matter of that. You might not get a chance to run it, but please give us a call or run yourself and you will see all the reports, listing, cross tab, everything we have it in a BLUMEN. So you either run it yourself, going in the report sections, or call us and we help you out. One more important thing to bring it to your attention, I'm not sure if any one of you or some of you maybe get the advantage of our features called bot forms, where we can help you to create your online application or any kind of forms. So for upper bound and talent search, you might need field trip authorization form, parent authorization form, or counselor recommendation form. We will be happy to create any type of form for you. And it's part of the BLUMEN. You're not paying additional money, trust me. If you're using these features, fantastic. If some of you did not use it yet, please give us a chance because it's just not an online application. It creates the log of all the submissions and you have a pick and choose option where if you like that application or you think that's a prospective student, you can do automation of the data entry. You can say, hey, I like this student or this student is prospective student, add in my database. Not only that, when you have an application there, you can do automation and upload into the BLUMEN, and we have a spot called wallet. I know it sounds funny, wallet has no money in it, but it's a spot where you can upload any documents along with the application and make your office paperless. So those are the enhancements. And one more thing which I think I'm talking too much. You can use BLUMEN using text messages, and you can send unlimited text messages back and forth, means two-way text message. You can use iPhone, Android, tablet, PC, MacBook, Mac Pro, because the reason is using BLUMEN portal, and you use BLUMEN portal to sending text message. By sending text message, you can choose one student, all the students, certain student, my caseload, and send the text message to students. And it creates the log. When student replies, it creates the log. So that features is there in BLUMEN as well. I pretty much highlight the points. I be open to be talk to everyone, any specific area. Honestly, I can keep going on and on. But I think so, Ms. William, make it, this session is more you have questions or something you like to get, your things get be answered. Ms. William, if you can address by person, I don't know which way you like me to conduct this.
Yeah, does anybody have any questions? You could either ask them things that have come up during the session so far or put them in the chat and I can read them out loud either way. Another thing that I think it would be cool to show is how you can put your services to connect to your objectives so that when you're showing your required services, there's
Okay.
yeah.
When you
You know what I'm
entering
talking about.
contact in BLUMEN, sure, I'm going to show you. So when you entering contact in a BLUMEN, you can enter as a counselor contact, tutor contact, teacher contact, whichever way you contact it. And when you entering contact, you specifying services. Hey, I did assisted lab or something like that, right? Everyone with me here? Once you're doing that, as of right now, only 5 programs, Talent Search and EOC, not going towards the APR because Department of Education not asking them right now. But for the other programs, like for SSS, is a APR Section 1 Part 2. For upper bound is about 45, 47, 46, 40, it's 47 to 50. That automatically updates. And it will be calculate that portion automatically for you for once you entering contacts. So you just going there, you will see the total count for SSS, and McNair has the same similar screen. It will be that numbers they're asking it. You just type those numbers on Department of Education website. Did I answer your question, Ms. Robin?
Well, I know there's another way to filter too. So if your program specifies out more specific information, like for example, with tutoring, if the program listed math tutoring, science tutoring, all that stuff, and then it would filter all in to count for academic tutoring. There, I remember there was some way.
Okay. That is called grouping. So
okay.
The portion you asked me if this is going towards the APR. The grouping is you can define under admin, customize, activity group list. So you can have thousands of activities in your BLUMEN applications, but Department of Education might be asking 6 or 7, or maybe 8, or maybe 10. So you can group that. You can have a group name exactly the way Department of Education asking, like an SSS case, and you can put all different, the one you have it exclusive for your program, and you can say services, and you can bundle up here all the services what you want into that particular group. It could be 1 or it could be hundreds. So you can keep adding up all of them here.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Right.
Yes, that was what I was wanting you to be able to feature. Thank you.
Right. Like I'm randomly selecting it, but you can add all of them here in one particular group.
Thank you. So we're starting to get
You're
some
welcome.
questions in the chat. The first one I see here is when you roll over the year for SSS, do you use active, served, active all, served all, reported yes? So that would be rolling
that
over.
Will be a
for...
good practice
Okay.
for SSS, McNair, upper bound math science, and veterans upper bound. For talent search and EOC, I will say talent search should be yes, yes, and yes, because talent search is not tracking student year by year. They have a different concept. EOC depends how you function your program. Sometime I seen it, some EOC programs start with the 0 count and they add student as the student comes to see them. Or they can do yes, 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 means active yes, served yes, reported yes to roll over. And they can pick and choose certain student, or they can do all of them as well for talent search and EOC. But talent search, more likely they do active yes, served yes, reported yes when the rollover happen.
Thank you.
I'm hoping I answered the question for that one, Ms. Amy and other SSS trio programs. Okay. What's the next question, Ms. Rubin?
How do I pull a report that shows how many contacts I have for each student on my caseload?
Okay. How many contacts? So you want the contact count. Why I'm repeating this question, the reason is that's the way we have a different report. and you say my caseload. So I'm going to be saying my technical way this thing. Since you're saying contacts, I will be going into reports and has to be in the contacts. That's the way we understand your question when you calling us. So I'm going to click on contacts and like to see all the reports. That's the first thing first. And you always can call us for support anyway. So 1 second. I'm so sorry. I have internet a little bit flimsy here, so bear with me. Now you're saying count. So it has a number of contacts. So whenever you see the reports, that is just a report header, and this is the description what this report will do for you. You saying count. So I'm going to do the report with the count. I'm going to run contact assessment. That's a very common question, very good questions, and most of the time we're getting this question. And now you're saying my caseload, right? So that means you're talking about your caseload student. So you can say contact done by me. So you can choose your name from the drop down here. I think everyone catching me. Do I'm too fast, Ms. William?
No, this is good. I was just thinking,
Okay.
if you were wanting to know the contacts, like if your student had seen a tutor and everything, it
So
would not
if you
count
do
that if you were
want,
just
if
looking
you
at
do
your name,
not
right?
wish to make your case, so it's not, okay, if you're not categorizing only by me, then it's going to be by default to everyone, okay? If you're saying, hey, my caseload, but whoever did the contact, doesn't matter, maybe Ms. Robin did the contact, Ms. Luna did the contact, but it's my caseload student. So if this is a situation, then you can click on Mark Student tab. Still it's your caseload, but a contact can be done by anybody else for those students, right? Because let's say it's your caseload student, but you are on vacation for a month. Maybe Miss Luna did the contact for those students for that month, so you are not sure about it. So you can, sorry, not Mark Student, my apology, student profile. And that time you just saying, hey, only click a student for my caseload. It doesn't matter who did the contact, but only student belongs to me. So first screen, contact done by me, regardless. One situation, second situation, doesn't matter who did the contact, only student of me. Those are the two different screens I'm talking about. Do I making sense, Ms.
Yes,
Rodin?
yes, I think this is
Okay.
exactly what's being asked. Thank you so much.
Right. So once you put the filter by selecting the name, please excuse my, come on, don't do that to my internet today. Please be there for another 30 minutes. You can select your name and hit submit and hit OK to continue. My dummy data, okay, let's say, come on. 1 second, please. Okay, I'm going back on a profile. I'm saying my caseload. I'm Henry. So I have 4 students in my caseload. I'm not saying I'm open. Just show me the contact. It doesn't matter if it's done by me or somebody else. So it's showing that 4 student has 19 contacts, 17 contacts, 17 and 18.
Wonderful, thank
Fair?
you. Did that answer the question? Okay, great.
Okay, so just to give you tricks when we're running reports, since you're making a question for contacts, always go on a reports, then the contact. If you say, hey, I need a listing, just go on the listing. And I will highly recommend click on a listing. Don't go with the name here itself. Just click on it. That's the way you can see the description, what each report including in it for you. Again, you are always call us back and we help you out. What's the next question, please, Ms. William?
It doesn't look like anybody else has posted a question yet. What other questions do we have? We've got a good group of people here. I know There must be some special things that you'd love to check in about.
Hey, I've got a question. This is for Upward Bound. One of the required services is financial literacy, but that financial literacy is not in the pull-down menu when adding services. And so is that done through the admin button?
Admin, customize, activity service group list. Check it out. Might be in your case. I'm just thinking 99% should be there. It might be somebody unchecked this box.
Okay. Great.
But
thank you.
if it's not a case, give us a call. We can help you out to add it up for you, or you can add up yourself here as well. But
Excellent.
if it's a required services, it should be here for the APR purpose.
Thank you.
Again, admin, customize, activity service group list. Thank you, Mr. Grape. What's the next question, please?
There is not one in the chat, so let's see if anybody in the audience here has something else they'd like to share.
I guess one other thing, especially last year during APR season, both for Talent Search and Upward Bound APR, BLUMEN was just freezing up a lot, and I just had a really hard time inputting data in October and November and December last year, and I just want to make sure that has been corrected.
It has been resolved, and it was a month of November precisely for a good 2 weeks. I'm not going to deny it to you, and it catch it up, and crossing my fingers, and trust me, we day and night we worked on it. We didn't announce it, and we informed the customer. We find our issue, we resolve it. Back end of the story, just to let you know, we all of them working day and night to see what exactly happened. It's just you build the whole castle, and you do not know where the nail is, and you find it, you took it out. Trust me or not, we took care. Thank you so much. I appreciating. I know that was the worst time we had it. Personally, I was thinking, can I have a reason to take a day off? And I'm making a everyday reason, hey, God, give me a fever. Trust me. So I can call the office on sick. But that's never happened. You know that. You cannot lie to boss. But I know we had a problem, sir. Thank you so much for sticking with us for that time.
Vandana, can you share what this add to my favorites option is there at the bottom of the screen?
Sure. So as you see that we have lots of reports or something, but let's say, for example, one of you asked that, hey, this report, it's good for me, and I think so according to the way you work it, might be that is one of the reports you're running quite often. So one way is you can go from reports, contact from here, it always begin there. So if you have a certain tasks or certain reports, if you running quite often, you just click on add to favorite.
Oh.
And you can say reports, and you say from contacts, it will load all of them, and I say contact assessment, click on add. Okay. What it does that, my home, one second. My home, you will see contact assessment will be added up here. So pretty much instead of going at different tabs, if you add to my favorite task or reports, you can control the whole BLUMEN, everything from my home. You don't need to go on a different screens. It's like as equal to you having it your own desktop for the BLUMEN. Means you creating everything on your desktop. It's like a BLUMEN desktop.
Great, thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. There is one person from the ETS asking how to deactivate a student from there and how to reactivate the student for a few fiscal year ago. Okay, so if the student is, let's say, if the student is graduating from 6th to 12th grade, after the 12th grade, BLUMEN automatically dropping them. You don't need to do any extra work. But if you decide that student is rolled over into the BLUMEN, like next fiscal year, but you decide he or she is not going to be rolled over, or Somehow you already did the rollover. Now you decide, hey, this student did not showed up. We do not need to count him in a talent search or any other program. Basically, you highlight the name of the student. If I'm precisely answering your question, how to deactivate for a fiscal year, highlight the name of the student from student data tab, demographic information. I'm moving the mouse a little slowly. You can go, since you're saying talent search, I'm going to be answering based on talent search, but I'm going to answer for the other program as well, might be have a different thought. You can go on a fiscal year and financial aid. You can highlight the year. Either you can completely remove from the fiscal year if that student did not participating at all in the fiscal year for talent search and EOC only. For other program, that is not an option. But if you say, no, we like to keep them a fiscal year, we just want to make them inactive, we like to keep a little bit idea, might be he come back, you just uncheck the box for active for a given fiscal year. You can select whichever fiscal year you like it. Not served, not reported. You can maintain that way. Only for talent search and EOC. Did I answer your question? I'm not sure who raised this question for the talent search and EOC. I'm hoping did I answer your question? If you are upper bound or upper bound math science, view B, McNair, and SSS, highlight the year and remove is not your option. Since for upper bound, you have to track 6 years after graduation, or when even though after the high school graduation, then 6 years after that, if they left the program prior to that, for you only have a privileges because you keep reporting the student to the fiscal years. You just unchecking the box active and served, keeping the box reported, and changing the status to prior year student because you need to keep track that student. Talent search and EOC do not have this option in the drop down. Just my answer is different. Okay.
Thank
and
you.
that's the way you maintaining the student next year to next year as well. There's a little bit difference in the each program wise how to maintain the data for a different fiscal year. Thank you for confirming that you got the answer.
Yes, that you did answer their question. Another feature I was wanting you to be able to share was for our programs that have such an online or virtual component right now. Can you show how BLUMEN has a check-in link that could be used for remote sessions as well as, I guess, anywhere on campus?
So basically, you're talking about where the student can come swipe their ID card or check, put their ID number or something?
Right. For example, for when an advisor is having a Zoom session or a phone call session, and so they're not physically signing in the space, how we can track.
Got you.
Yeah.
Okay. So BLUMEN has a sister program for the BLUMEN Online. If any one of you from the BLUMEN PC version, some of the features are not there in the PC, not going to be possible in PC. The reason is the technology behind that not possible to make those things in a PC version. So the features that I'm talking about, the online application, upload documents, text messages, and another feature is called Bolt. So Bolt is a sister program of the BLUMEN Online. It's an independent website address to your blumenlab.com, where you can log in your credentials and student can come and swipe their ID card and log in. But Ms. Williams' question is when you have a Zoom meeting and you maintaining the attendance virtually, how the student can sign in virtually. For that purposes, the person has to have permissions or rights to do that. For that purpose, person has to go on admin, home, username and password. That screen only can seen by admin, who is admin for the role. If you are not admin for the role, your director or whoever has an admin role, if you have permission for the bolt, they can create the link for you. Okay? Let's say this is me. I'm going inside. I'm going to delete first. Okay. I can generate the link and click on OK. That link will generate. You can start and end setup if you like to. If you're not setting up, it will be open forever unless you closing that session. You can copy the link. You can text the link or send the link through the Zoom meeting. When students get that link, what basically they do that, they clicking on the link. Imagine I send the link as a text message. A link is that. It will be giving that portal for them automatically where they can punch their ID number like that and put in. I'm sorry, I might not be a student like that. Not sure. Let me check. Here you go. And now this one, lab services, reason for visit, staff member, that is optional. You can make a visual or you can say, hey, they just maintain the sign-in. They don't need to select any service or person. That's fully customizable in the lab settings in a main account under admin, system, customize, lab preferences, lab setting preferences, which you can customize it. And if you do not wish to be set where they can select it, you just hide it and they just only sign in. That's it, or sign out.
And
Is
then
that what
does
you're
this,
talking about, ma'am?
that's exactly what I'm talking about. Thank you so much. Does that go into their student record as well to track on that end?
Yes. Once they're signing in, let's say if I'm a student, I'm signing it, and I'm going to do sign out again. Okay. I'm doing sign in. Just let me check in. Okay. I'm going to check out. Okay. Whenever they do sign in, sign out, as it shows the name, even though you can hide those information as well. So they just sign in and sign out. They cannot see anything else. The whole information of sign in, sign out will show up a fifth type of contact in a BLUMEN, which is we call it lab contact. And I'm going to show you the contact here for a minute. You see that? All the details will be here. You as end user point of view, student do not know where the information going. You can modify as needed if you need to.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
What other
Next
questions
question,
do we
please.
have from the group?
While if anybody have a question, I just want to bring it attention. We have a, if I think so you all used to, but if not, just want to let you know we have an online help guide, user guide. When you click on it, it has a built-in index or search. You just type few words, what you're looking for. It is very interactive and it can show you all the options, just in case if you like to do your own time, and it's going to show you step-by-step instructions and the screenshots. What's the next question? Just to let you know, remind all the programs, we also has an interface with National Student Clearinghouse as long as you have an account with National Student Clearinghouse. So if anybody needs help or something, you can call the office, we can help you out. But we have a National Student Clearinghouse interface also, which is pretty much nowadays every program use.
So for areas of efficiency, it seems like using your bot form for the application, and then it can be pretty seamless to create the student profile off of that.
Yes. Yes.
And then for financial aid information or for dependent students or pre-college students having an additional form that goes to the families, that's also something that can happen through the bot form?
Yes. In fact, let me enhance a little bit here. Especially, we're talking about the big group talent search, upper bound math science. They're dealing with minors. So if you're looking at form has to sign by the parents, so we can create a condition in the form. If the age is less than 18, make sure parents has to sign it. So we can make the conditional form as well. The form could be bilingual, where we can have different languages also.
And then that gets sent to the parents
And
with their
one
email
more
or
feature
something?
in the bot form, if you need to be create certain form only for in-house purposes, means let's say your counselors, your advisor, or your staff has to submit some in-house purposes, you need to fill up some forms internally. We can develop those forms for you as well. And once somebody's submitting the form, definitely the designated people will get a notification as an email, and it creates a login of BLUMEN regardless. And more than one person can get that email. So who get the email? You decided, my director, my admin, my dean, my advisor, my counselors. It can be multiple people or only one person. You will be deciding that. And you can request unlimited forms. That's why we're not using the word application. It could be field trip authorization form, or you can say summer camp form, anything pretty much.
Do any programs use the bot forms for their program eligibility and academic need verification?
We don't, honestly, one customer, personally, I just worked, I do remember one person because I did work like few days ago. We built almost 23 forms for them, variety of the forms. Like just not intake, imagine, field trip, transcript request form, counselor recommendation form. In fact, we can do automation, means let's say if it's some program they needed, hey, if there's a counselor name and email address there, we have a counselor recommendation form. We can do automation. We can build a counselor recommendation form. That form goes to the counselor directly as well too. But we try to do as much as customization for you. And it's part of the BLUMEN Online. And once we create the bot form, we can do the URL. We can give the hyperlink. We can do QR code also.
Wonderful. And then that makes it super seamless to put it into the electronic file through BLUMEN if programs choose to use that feature as well.
Exactly. So once you can upload any electronic file here, let's say I'm student sending an email to you, like for example, I'm just uploading it. You just select the file by wherever you have file and just upload it here. Or if you have a bot form, you asking them certain attachments. For example, I'm going to be showing you here, bot form submission log. If you have any attachments, or even though this bot form, you can add to wallet. That's what we call it. And if you have any attachments, it shows, and you can, if there is any attachment, it shows word called add to wallet, and you can easily add to wallet here based on your app forms.
Nice. It looks like somebody commented about the clearinghouse not being a super helpful feature in their experience. Is there something to know about how to utilize that clearinghouse feature to work more seamlessly?
Basically, one thing need to be catch here. Most of the time, you need to have an account. Second thing, there's only certain fields. BLUMEN can do the automation of the data entry, depends on program to program. So sometimes, based on my experience, because I used to be in a technical support department as well, the information what you get from National Student Clearinghouse, what you have to update, not necessarily need to be update all of them. For example, I'm going to talk about some upper bound program here, there is a certain data, whatever you said it in a previous year, National Student Clearinghouse might have some new information, and if you do that import, it will mess up your APR. So that's the reason we have to keep things in mind. I understand we do the automation, all of them. We do. We love to do that. But there is a certain information you should not. So we highly recommend people, when you get the information from National Student Clearinghouse, check the data here in the tracking information, and then update not necessarily all the fields, certain fields. Because we find out, even though it's I'm not making any stories. I've seen people update the information because they talked the student yesterday and they got the evidence from the student, and National Student Clearinghouse do have a different information altogether, and that's what we learn it from them. It's like several incidents happen with us. So we're saying, okay, when you're aware about it, then do the step number 5 to update all the data, and you can choose certain fields based on the program. So is a features there? What National Student Clearinghouse giving you information versus what you need for a given program? There's a slightly different things, and especially for the talent search and EOC, they're asking the question in the multiple folds. So it's a direct data entry, not going to help you out. For an example, talent search program, if you are a talent search, they're asking, did you get the bachelor degree, associate degree, or both? When National Student Clearinghouse giving you both information, there is no way we can update that field automatically both. So because, and might be he has a master also, you never know. So there is a very fine line. That's why we bring the data. In certain scenario, you might have to do the fine tuning. And I'm agree what she meant to be, what's the thought behind that, but because of the very complex information sometimes Department of Education asking you and not let you to update it once you report it, you might have to do some of the works, and the data can bring it up here on that tracking information, then you can update the data. The people who has a brand new grant, never has a tracking before, it works fine completely because they have no history, but they already have existing grant, you are limited to update certain information by the Department of Education as this BLUMEN right now. So I agree with you, but same time we have a tool available for you, whichever best way we can help you out.
Well, thank you. We're already over time. Did anybody have any final questions that you wanted to ask at this point? Like, I know one that keeps coming up for me is around the gender field that was added for the APR this year, where we added in that
Right.
third option of non-binary or another gender, which was great. But there's still no place in BLUMEN or in Student Access at this point that addresses preferred name or pronouns. And I just wanted to put the push back out there to request that because when students
That's
are
a
logging
pretty good
in,
suggestion. I will say, Ms. William, can you drop, or any one of BLUMEN user drop us an email as a suggestion?
Okay.
So what we do that on the back end, whenever there is no update or something, we non-stop enhancing our application. So just drop us an email. We prefer to be a pronounced name, as we can create the field name called black color text field here, because those are the mandatory field. We don't mind to. That is the first time I hear it, because I will definitely put out my site. It's not like I'm waiting for your email. I will let my development team knows, but it add the weight. I'm just giving you insight of my company. I'm
Okay, wonderful.
leaking my privacy thing here,
Yeah.
but it add the weight because my boss trust more customer than us. He's always telling us we are a spoiled child here. So if there's a customer saying that make more sense. And otherwise
Okay,
he's saying we
wonderful.
are lazy.
Okay, well, I will get connected with some of your customers and we'll send a joint one to BLUMEN to encourage that. Thank you so much.
Please, thank you so much.
Well, thank you so much for being here and for sharing all this great information. I'm going to go ahead and stop our recording now.